Welcome to Detecting Intelligence, the only show that treats AI like a crime scene. We bag the evidence, dust the hype for fingerprints, and interrogate the breakthroughs. Then we ask the only question that matters. Are we closer to AGI? Let's find out. Here are your hosts, Frank and Ronnie.
Good morning, Ronnie.
Good morning, FC. Did you hear that honking? I might have to close my window. Did you hear that?
I just caught it. Yeah.
You did? Let me close that. Hold on.
There's windows on this planet that you're on here right now. Doesn't look like there's any windows where you are.
There are windows. I'm not actually on the moon. I did see this morning when I woke up, and I do the horrible thing when I wake up and I roll over and grab my phone, like an addict, and then I just came across. I follow this account on Instagram. It's called Disclosure, and they talk about a whole lot of UAP, UFO stuff. And they post a lot of content like that. But this one was a content, I think, from Apollo. It was an Apollo 16 mission, one of the Apollo missions. And the footage was, the two astronauts, and they were, on the rover or whatever, driving around. But the footage was enhanced and stabilized and all that. So you get this is one of the clearest videos I've ever seen of the moon. And I'm just studying the landscape. It's just like, wow, I've never seen these, just these types of formations anywhere else on the planet. It's just, you've seen the moon. It's just, you got the craters and all the different types of hills. They do a really good job of replicating this stuff in the movies. But then, the bottom half of the footage is the moon, and then the top half of the footage is just a void.
Yeah.
And it's like, oh, that's so scary. It kind of reminded me when I went on a cruise. I only been on a cruise once. I don't know if I'll ever do it again. It was fine. I wasn't, too scared, but it's just like you set sail, you're on a cruise and then you do a 360 turn and you don't see anything but the ocean, and it's also a scary thought, like, wow, I'm in the middle of nowhere. So if you're on the moon, wherever you are in space, you're in the middle of nowhere. But, just being on the moon and just looking out like, wow, there's nothing out there. It's a fascinating thing, and I do hope I earn enough money one day to afford a trip to possibly visit the moon, or at least go around it, because I do think it's a very strong possibility that you and I might be able, if we can afford it, but that you and I might be able to book a ticket and just book a flight around the moon, or even just set foot on the moon.
That would be quite the thing. Yeah, I know. I think just looking at the Artemis mission schedule here as well too, it seems like permanent structures are going to be starting to be established here within this decade, and then there'll be the first long visit astronauts staying on the moon in the 2030s. So I think that's not too far away.
Yeah. No, these guys they want to build a base. They want to build a base on the moon, so we can get to Mars. I'm not too sure about the Mars. The moon is. I'm sure we'll eventually ship some robots that'll just be building nonstop there 24/7, and all we'll have to do is just send supplies there back and forth. But Mars, I'm not too sure about Mars, man.
If anything goes wrong, it's a bit of a journey back.
I think there is already an astronaut who's decided that it's a female astronaut, and she's like, yeah, I'll be the first one, and she understands it's most likely a one-way trip.
Well, don't you remember, I think it was probably a decade or more ago now, there actually was a Dutch company that was signing up people for a one-way trip to Mars, and that you could sign up and you would have to, acknowledge that you're going to be leaving all your friends and family behind. And they had several thousand people sign up. Yeah, they did. Yeah. I don't know what I hope those people are just enthusiasts and they don't have some sort of death wish or something. Yeah. Because that would be kind of sad and morbid.
But what a way to go if you do.
I mean, yeah, it'll be interesting to see what this planet the type of people it would get seeded by. Yeah.
But anyways, this has nothing to do with AI. Welcome, folks. This is Detecting Intelligence. I am your co-host, Ronnie, a.k.a. Dr. Manhattan, and I'm joined by my co-host, Frank Zuring, a.k.a. Frank Zuring, as his family knows him. Yeah, so anyways, but we're here to bring you some AI news, AGI news that we find interesting. And the first one is, what if you can meet your CEO anytime, but it's not actually them? Meta is building an AI version of Mark Zuckerberg so employees can interact with him on demand. So it's an AI avatar of Mark Zuckerberg that employees can meet, quote, quote, and interact with internally. The goal is to scale leadership access, letting staff ask questions, get guidance, and engage with a digital version of the CEO without needing the real person. Wow. So if an AI can perfectly replicate a CEO's thinking, do you still need the CEO?
I mean, that's a good question, right?
Yeah, thanks, ChatGPT.
Yeah, I find this really interesting, and it seems like it's a play off of another CEO that had the same thing done. Now, interestingly enough, this was from Uber CEO Dara. His internal team.
Uber CEO. Yeah. Sorry.
His internal team had established a avatar CEO for them to make high risk presentations to get some kind of feedback from what likely they would get from Dara in real life. And that was how that got created. So I think Zuckerberg is taking a little bit of a nod from that, but obviously they're taking this to a whole other level. I'm just super curious, like what they will end up training this on. It seems like it's a lot of like strategy, his public content as well too. But I wonder like how much personal and private content would be also put into this.
Well, that's weird because I feel like you were standing over my shoulder because that's exactly what I'm about to tell you next. So, so they trained it on Zuckerberg's communication style, his knowledge, and decision-making patterns. So the idea is, they want to reduce bottlenecks, decision-making, internal communication. But yeah, so as an employee, and not even just at Meta or anywhere, yeah, I don't know. I'm just kind of processing this in real time right now, but like I'm just trying to think of like how I would feel if my employer or boss created an AI clone of himself to I guess to save time and be more efficient. I'm just trying. I don't know if I would engage with this sort of thing. I guess I'd have. I don't know if I'd be the first one. I mean, what's the it's not that I'm scared or anything like that. I don't know. It's just the fact that it's not the real person. I don't know. You tell me, how do you feel about that?
I mean, I would wonder if Mark Zuckerberg is getting debriefed from his virtual Mark Zuckerberg as well too. So if like you have a conversation with his avatar, is it then going to go back and report to Mark how that interview went? Because that would change my perception of like how I should interact with this thing. Right? So.
Yeah, and I'm very interested in the I guess the logistics are not that interesting, but I'm just curious as to how how guarded this clone is. Is it the only one that has access to it, or does the CFO or whoever else in the company have access to this as well? Because we're just going back to like prompt injection stuff. Like if you give somebody else access to it, this other person can start slipping things in there that shouldn't be there, and then that just sets off a snowball effect to a whole bunch of issues. But look, this is, we've heard reports already that, the AIs are getting to a point where they can do a whole lot of, a lot of what CEOs or, presidents of companies can do. And then you think about the ratio of the salaries of these companies between the CEOs and the employers, and how that just over the years has skyrocketed. It's insane. It's like 250 to 1 or something like that. It's insane how much these CEOs are making now versus their average employee. Yeah, dude, this is an interesting, and kudos to Mark for attempting something like this. This is very interesting because he can be building a case for a lot, it's just to get a lot more people to start asking questions like, okay, like, why do we need a CEO? I mean, you do need a CEO in some form or fashion, but why do we need to pay you so much now? Like, if you're training these models to replace your employees, or even potentially like reduce the salary or pay of your employees because now you're offloading some of the work that they've been doing to an AI, then shouldn't that apply to this? Anyway, that's just my thinking.
I mean,
about it.
I would love to be one of those first employees to interact with it, because I think there'd be a lot of questions that could potentially be interesting to ask. Like, hey, Mark, are you looking to outsource this department? Or
you have to imagine though. You have to imagine. I mean, all that's being logged. I would think, even if they say they're not logging it, you better believe they're logging it.
Oh, for sure.
So you might want to be careful with the type of questions you ask.
Maybe an employee will share an open portal where the public can interact with Mark for a moment.
Yeah. Oh lordy. Well, I don't know. It's we should definitely follow that story. I'm interested in seeing how the employees react to it, and also seeing how effective it is.
Yeah.
And I think it will be. I mean, I think we're all going to have a clone of ourselves online, at some point, doing things for us on our behalf. I mean, that's obvious to us because we know this is coming. But yeah. All right, let's get to the next story here. Frank, lead us into this one.
Yeah, I don't know how I feel about this one. It's definitely feels rather dystopian in many ways here. So all these little headsets that you can see on these workers is essentially a camera that's tapped into an AI, and it's watching their movement.
एक कैमरा सब आदमी लगाया स्पॉट लाइन में, ठीक है, सब आदमी लगाया कैमरा.
So you and I were talking.
सब चालू है.
It's coming through on your audio there.
Oh, sorry.
ये है ना.
Okay, is that better?
Yep, perfect. There you go.
Okay. Yeah, you and I were talking a little bit prior to in the pre-show, and I believe it's DoorDash, might even be Amazon. I think Amazon's probably already started doing it, but I believe DoorDash, I saw that they were offering people to wear some sort of body cam or head camera while they did household chores. And obviously it's to train robots to do household chores. This is a movement. This is going to be a growing movement. And yeah, essentially, I mean, humans, and depending on what part of the world you're from and how dire the economic situation is, but some people are just going to have to do this sort of thing, either for just to do it for work, to earn a paycheck, or to keep their paycheck until they are replaced by, some sort of humanoid, or it doesn't even have to be a humanoid robot. It could just be a box with arms. It doesn't have to, it just needs to get the task done. But this is what's going to happen to the labor market, to the physical labor market, because we're already seeing the mental, or I don't know how else to say, but the mental label, or the how do they say it's I think they use the word intelligent, but yeah. Anyway, for mental labor is already soon being flushed out of white collar jobs, and this is this is dystopian to put it lightly, or to put it wrap it up in the way you said.
I'll just share my screen here as well too with another example here, and I think this kind of plays off of what you were just talking about, but this is super interesting because this is the other humanoid robot, and I think this is kind of what you were speaking to, like learning tasks in the home. But this company, which was one of the first companies to produce this new home robot that is on a subscription basis, you don't have to pay up front all of these costs. Essentially, is just a camera in your home that's tied into an individual in another part of the globe that's connected to this robot doing the work for you. So you can see here they're demonstrating like the VR setup and how it kind of controls the robot. It's wild, man. I don't know. It's definitely an interesting space that we're moving towards here.
It's definitely an interesting space. And then, and people are, a lot more people are going to find themselves in a position where, and not just this, but, even if you have a white collar position, they're going to find themselves in a position where their employer is going to come to them and be like, hey, do you want to train, or would you mind training this model, or you have to train this model because it's just, we're going to be implementing this technology into the company because it's going to reduce costs and yada, yada, yada. And it'll be better for you in these all these various ways. So yeah, it's gonna be I can't wait to see what how people are going to feel about this and what decisions they're going to make, because what are you going to do, leave and then what, just go to another company that's soon going to approach you with the same with the same question, and soon you're just I don't know, man. I mean, the labor market is in trouble for humans.
Would you bring one of these into your home?
Yeah. Not the first one.
Yeah.
Not the first one, but yes, of course I want one of these.
Yeah. Who wouldn't want somebody always on taking care of making sure things were clean and your meals were being prepared for you, and like that. It's definitely a space that we're moving to. I think I saw one. I don't know if we can find it up here as well too. I'll have a quick look for it. Where there's a robot that is on like a slider that goes up and down. Let me see here. But it's fascinating just to kind of see this space. Who knew we would be getting into these household robots so quickly?
I was not expecting these things to happen so quickly. Yeah, for sure. It's already happening now. It's just not, it's not in every household yet because they're too expensive. But you can order these on Amazon. I think they start at like 5, 6, 7,000. But you can order them on Amazon and they'll show up at your door in like 2 weeks.
Yeah.
You can already order these things on Amazon.
Yeah, it's wild. Here, I did find this other one here too. Let me bring this one up.
Got 12 minutes left, folks. Frank has a hard stop at 9:30, so we keep tabs all the time, but we're good.
Yeah, I just wanted to kind of show just how different this one looks. It's kind of not a great source here. I apologize, everybody. But I find this one interesting. This is being tested in China right now, but it's on this like slider. Kind of reminds me of like robots that you see in factories for like picking and packing packages and these types of things.
It's genius.
But yeah, I mean, it certainly is, right? Because it can adjust for different environments quite easily.
It can adjust for different environments. It can adjust for different heights, and it's also more stable.
Yeah.
Because you have a humanoid robot, the thing is likely on 2 legs, so you can push the thing over. Although they're getting really good at not falling over. If you watch those videos of people trying to push and kick these things over, some of them are fake, but some of them are real.
Yeah.
I would think. But this is genius also because this thing is on like a more solid platform. So it's a lot more stable. It doesn't shake around or move too much.
This part here was the best. Look at it's washing its claws.
Look at that. It's this is a genius design. Was it from China or Japan?
From China. Yeah.
From China. Yeah, they're kind of. Last time I checked, I heard they're kicking our butt in the robotic space.
Definitely a little scary.
Oh boy, war games. More games. All right, let's get the next story.
Maybe we should be thinking about allowing foreign manufacturing in our areas, because then they can start building these robots at night.
Right. Yeah.
And then it's like like a Trojan horse in a way. All of a sudden, thousands of robots come out of these factories.
Yeah, I mean, if you think about it from a military standpoint, I mean, really, like right now, before robotics, it was just, it was our tanks versus your tanks. It was our guns versus your guns. It was our naval ship versus your naval ship. Now it's going to be, now it looks like it's going to be our drones versus your drones, our robots versus your robots. And, somebody's going to have the advantage for a period, I would think, maybe a couple of months or a couple of years. But I have to assume, if someone, goes ahead a little bit, technologically, then, everyone else starts to catch up. I mean, of course, that whoever it is in the league keeps going. I don't know. I just feel like at some point, doesn't the playing field get level? The way why that came up is like, okay, you think about all the countries that have nuclear weapons, and I think the U.S. allegedly has the most. But at a certain point, it doesn't matter how many you have, because after a certain point, it's total self-annihilation. You know what I mean? But anyways, I was just thinking, I'm like, at some point, doesn't the playing field with military robots, doesn't it get leveled down and become a stalemate? Maybe not. I don't know.
Yeah, no. I think the only thing we have going for us in North America is we got an ocean separating us from some of the other parts of the world, right? So,
yeah,
that is hopefully still going to be a good barrier for a lot of things.
What do we want to do next here? Poly market?
Yeah, let's get into it. Yeah, this was a good one.
Wait, what was the poly market was which? Wait, not the deep
poly market was the share of the article about the philosopher, but the link that you have up there, I think, is the source.
Oh, okay. Well, yeah. Well, let's bring that one up. All right. So turns out Google DeepMind has hired a philosopher to find out if computers or machines can become conscious. This is part of the problem with us figuring out if and when AGI has arrived or going to arrive. I don't know. I mean, I feel like consciousness, and if you go by the definition, I don't believe consciousness is part of the AGI definition. I think it's more so how much of our brain tasks it can handle. But Google seems to think that there's a possibility that machines could become conscious, and so they want a philosopher on staff to make sure maybe this thing doesn't turn out to be some sort of mechanical serial killer. I guess. But so you just learned about. I mean, you've heard stories of we've talked about this in this sentiment for a while now. But Frank, but you just kind of learned about Google hiring this particular person for this reason today. So what's your initial reaction to this madness?
I mean, I think philosophers are kind of one of the types of profile or professions, I guess you could say, that would have a bit of insight into like what is consciousness, and there's a lot of thought experiments that they go through on a regular basis to determine consciousness and what, like, potentially what it is. I don't think we still have an answer of what consciousness is. There's a lot of there's definitely a lot of experiments that can be done, but the essence of consciousness is still a mystery, in regards to where it originates from and how it forms. But I think this is an interesting move because, just like looking at our ability to process information and how we think about things, they've got a unique lens that I think could also shed some light into like how well are these machines thinking, and is there maybe something else there other than just the processing of large language models and processing of information. So yeah, I think it's an interesting move.
You're talking about how consciousness is a mystery, and just thinking about like consciousness, I would think at some point forms in the womb. Not sure when. I'm not sure if we have that information or know when exactly that does happen. But I was just thinking about when you said it was a mystery, I'm like, wow, it's a mystery, yes. And it's just like, but it's the thing that we've been attached to, so to sense, from second one, and it's the thing that we're closest to, in a sense, and yet it's the thing we have no idea as to what it is, where it comes from, why we have it. Just fascinating. It's like, it's like having hands and not knowing, like, I don't know what these hands are, but I've had them from, since I was born. I don't know why I have, or, what they do, or, I don't know. Maybe that was a bad analogy, but it's just, I was just thinking about, like, wow, this thing is like, it's right there. It's right behind my eyes, in my head, and I don't know what it is.
I'm gonna play another video because I love videos, but I think that this was a style of video that was going around on a circuit for quite a while. So I'm going to share the audio here as well too, because it's hilarious. But I don't know if I would agree if consciousness forms in the womb. I think there's a moment where people feel like they come into consciousness, and it certainly made its circuit on social media here.
Full screen it.
Where are we? The moon. Okay, you're still on autopilot, Miss Johnson. What's wrong? What are we doing here? You're learning. I'm confused. Where did I come from? Why do airplanes fly? Why did the sun always follow me? Okay, kids, time for a nap. Nap time. Nap time.
Totally. Yeah, that was a good one. That was a good one.
Yeah. I don't know. Like it's weird, I can remember certain things from when I was younger, but I don't remember all of it. And I don't remember obviously everything from my life, but it's interesting that you have some reflections on certain moments. And when you have kids as well too, I find it interesting that you can kind of connect back to your very first memory and then where they are on the like age scale, and think like, okay, at this moment I can kind of connect with, because I can kind of transplant myself into that age in my head, and what I was thinking about, what was kind of on my mind those days. And I don't know, I think that consciousness maybe comes from like a number of experiences that happen, and maybe that's why there's also some thought that we're going to see consciousness pop into existence with AI, is because of all the interactions that it's having with people and experiences it's gaining. I don't know, it's interesting.
Right. Yeah. Again, just having no clue as to what consciousness is, but does it need to be attached to some sort of biological mechanism like our bodies, or can it exist on a circuit board, in silicon? Can it exist there? Who knows? You can't say no because we don't know what it is. I would think, my gut is telling me. Are you still there, Frank? You froze. My gut is telling me no. It can't exist mechanically, but that's I do think it has to be some sort of biological. I don't know if biological is the right word, but I do think consciousness requires some sort of biological vehicle to exist. I think it needs material that it can't get from hardware. Anyway, what were you gonna say?
We started with UAPs. So why don't we end on UAPs? And I think one comment that has come up a lot is that apparently we are containers, but containers of what we have yet to be told. So maybe that's the secret.
Well, I got a draft post that I haven't sent out yet, but it was just I'm working on it. But the gist is that humans are just carriers of information, nothing more, nothing less. Emotions are just a side effect of this complicated structure that we are. But really, I just feel like all we are carriers of information. And it's just, when you start, looking out and digging deeper, and start breaking things down to the fundamental level, and things are just particles and electrons and ones and zeros and chemicals and molecules and all that stuff. And all that stuff is information.
I guess we'll find out on.
It's 9:30. We're gonna end it there because we have to. Otherwise, we're gonna go off into the weeds here. But it won't be a show until we get back.
Good show today,
Much.
Ronnie.
We'll see you tomorrow. We'll see you tomorrow at 9. Frank's got to go. I got to go. But tune back in tomorrow at 9 a.m. Eastern.
Bye for now.
Today's evidence is logged. The timeline has been updated, and the future remains under investigation. If you found this useful, please like the video and subscribe to the channel. And don't forget to turn on notifications so you don't miss the next analysis. You can also drop your questions in the comments. We read them, we use them, we investigate them. And for deeper dives, join the newsletter at detectingintelligence.com. Thanks for watching. See you next time, friend.